Hi, I'm Steve, the introverted traveler. I've made it my mission in life to explore the beaches, deserts, mountains, and even cityscapes around us, and to do so while avoiding contact with as many people as possible. And although I will never hang out with you for any reason, I do invite you to join me on my journey. Come and see the world through the eyes of an extreme introvert. On this adventure, we are stomping through the forest of Chehalem Ridge, near the town of Gaston in northern Oregon. Along the way, we will see cougar warning signs, venture through the deep dark woods, and experience the wonders of Pacific Northwest winter weather. All this and much more on this Introverted Travels. Oh no, it is time to panic. Because a cougar was seen in the area. Like the end of November, which we're at the beginning of February, so that was like, 2 or 3 months ago, but still, it's a cougar, and it's scary. And not only is it a cougar that was seen, it is the faceless, shadowed, one-dimensional cougar of northern Oregon. That, of course, of all the cougars you'll ever encounter in the wild or in captivity, the faceless, one-dimensional, shadowed cougar of northern Oregon is the most deadly. So yeah, if you are traipsing through the woods and you encounter a very large and mysterious, completely featureless, flat, shadowed cougar, you better find a cave system to hide in quickly, because you're about to get dead. Greetings. And I'm back yet again on yet another adventure. And right off the bat, today is weird. First of all, I don't know if you've noticed, and it was actually worse a few minutes ago, so it may be getting better, but there are small flakes of ice falling from the sky and tumbling to the ground. Now, I am out in literally the middle of nowhere, Oregon. I am out in some place called Chehalem Ridge, which, okay, I'm going to be totally honest. My drive to this place today was the equivalent of a 80-year-old dementia patient walking into a Walmart and then just wandering aimlessly through the aisles. I have absolutely no clue where I am. I got in the car, I turned on the GPS, it said go this way, and I went that way and then just completely tuned out. I know I'm somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, and I appear to be in a forest. Outside of that, I mean, I could be in Idaho for all I know. I have no idea where I am. But I do know that I am on this hike today because the weather forecast was telling me that the mountains and the Columbia River Gorge and Mount Hood and all those areas were going to be under ice, under snow. There were going to be sentient snowmen with sharp, dangerous icicles wandering through the forest, stabbing hikers with cold death. I mean, all of that. And so I decided, okay, well, let's go someplace safer. Let's stay closer to Portland and let's just go for a nice jaunt through the woods. Well, apparently there's flat, giant cougars wandering around through this woods, and there's snow falling from the sky. So I either get eaten by a one-dimensional, dangerous cougar that was seen 3 months ago, or I meet an icy fate somewhere in the dark woods. It's Sunday. And frankly, that would be a pretty entertaining video. Probably more entertaining than what I usually put here on this channel. So it's Sunday and I may die. I mean, that's every video. I mean, come on. This is nothing new except that there's a tiny bit of snow on the ground, and it gave me something new to talk about. But let's go ahead and stick to the formula for the rest of this introduction, and we'll try to get this done as soon as possible. The hike today, well, I have no idea where I'm going or what I'm doing, but I know it goes someplace and then it goes back to someplace else. And according to wonderful, beautiful, and hopefully I can bury it in the snow, all trails, it is going to be 7.8 or so miles. And that, of course, means it's probably going to be closer to 78 miles because, say it with me, take the shot, fill out your bingo card, whatever you have to do. All trails sucks. But you don't watch these introductions to know that all trail sucks, because everybody knows that all trail sucks. No, you want to know the meat and the potatoes, which is, even though I am out in the snowy, scary, flat, cougar-infested woods, there were like 3 cars at the trailhead. That means if you do the introverted math, of course, 4 people per car times 3, there's going to be at least 12 people out here. I'm hoping there's like 15 flat, dark cougars out here to eat those 12 people that are out here. But the truth is, I got out of my car, I got onto the trail, and immediately there were people coming from every direction. There were people in the woods. There were people staring at me. Unfortunately, out of all the things I've described, the worst part of it and the scariest part of it is there were people. I mean, I didn't aimlessly drive through the middle of nowhere and get to a place where I have no idea where I am just to see people. But it's the Pacific Northwest. There's literally people just everywhere. I mean, I'm pretty sure that behind all those trees you see, and there's hundreds of trees in front of me, each tree has at least 3 people. But the bonus for me is it definitely fuels my bitching, moaning, and complaining, and I get a bunch of randomly boring YouTube videos out of it that nobody watches, and I just make on Sunday because what the hell else am I going to do? But that's where I am today. That's what I'm doing, and it looks like the snow is letting up, but there are still flat, one-dimensional shadowed cougars in the woods, and they're coming to eat me. So that's going to be an adventure, but I'm going to go ahead and get going. I'm going to head up the trail. I'm going to see whatever the hell I see, and now there's random gunshots in the forest. So we have flat, one-dimensional cougars, we have ice falling from the sky, and we have probably people with banjos and buck teeth firing through the woods. Welcome to Sunday Hike Day. Well, I'm less than a mile into this hike, and I didn't realize that I ordered a bunch of annoying hikers to be talking and shouting and hooting and hollering and just generally being mundane, boring, and utterly ridiculous behind me. But luckily, the area in which I am in has like 150 side trails. So luckily for me, they're echoing and shouting and screaming down in a different direction and annoying the flat, one-dimensional dark cougars out here and leaving me be. But I'm also noticing something else interesting out here. Some of the trail names. So we have the Ayika Trail Loop. Okay, that's probably a Native American word. I don't know what it means, but that's fine. But then we have the Witch's Butter Trail. Now, I don't know how that makes me feel. I mean, part of me is like witch's butter, so I'm thinking like, you know, fantasy novel with a person in the kitchen. They're churning butter. They're making somehow they're making some butter, and they're witches, of course, so it's witch's butter. But the other part of me, I just think that sounds like a weird venereal disease. I mean, honestly, if you have witch's butter, you probably just really need to see a doctor, because it just sounds kind of nasty. I'm not exactly sure who comes up with these trail names, but whoever came up with that one, either they have a vivid, weird imagination, or they have some serious medical conditions that hopefully they got an ointment to treat. Like, I wouldn't want to experiencing whatever witch's butter is. It sounds painful, and it sounds like a discharge might be involved. Luckily, I'm not going on the witch's STD trail. I'm actually going straight ahead, but yeah. There's people shouting and thundering through the woods. There's the potential for flat, weird cougars out here, and there's trails that are named after what sounds like a venereal disease. It's Sunday. That's really all I can say. Well, so far, the major highlight of this hike is mud. I mean, I think that tells you everything you need to know about this hike so far. It was snowing for a while. That was kind of nice, and it's pretty out here, but it's not the most exciting thing in the world. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, I'm trying to film a video for YouTube and Instagram and all that social media stuff, and the trail's not giving me much. I mean, I'm out here in the cougar-infested woods. We already knew that. It's, well, I mean, if you've seen one cougar-infested woods in Oregon, you've seen all cougar-infested woods in Oregon. There's not that much variation. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, I need content. What do I say? And the only thing I can think about is mud. I mean, I know that's not an exciting topic, but for the hiker, mud is the worst possible thing you can encounter. I'm okay on ice and snow because there's equipment for ice and snow. You can get crampons, you can get ice spikes, and so on and so forth. And then you put those on, you walk through it perfectly fine, and you survive to live another day. There's nothing for mud. This slimy, gross, yucky crap that I am walking through, I mean, it's slippery, it's slidey, and for a middle-aged hiker like myself, I mean, that's a broken hip waiting to happen. I mean, let's face it, my bones are brittle, my back is hurting, my legs are hurting, basically everything hurts because I'm 45. And all it's going to take is just one slip on the mud, and my hiking days are over. My ranting days, no, those are far from over. I'm going to be bitching, moaning, and complaining on my deathbed. My deathbed confession is going to be a diatribe about how many damn people there are in the room and how there's just too many nurses hovering around me. That's never going to end. But I think if anything ends it for me, hiking-wise, it's going to be the mud. Okay, so you know a hike is boring when, other than making weird diatribes about mud, you get excited when all of a sudden the scenery changes and there's a staff-only area closed to protect wildlife habitat gate in front of a road that goes directly through the wildlife habitat. That's pretty much a metaphor for this entire hike. I mean, that's the only thing I've gotten excited about since the snow and the weird signs about cougars. By the way, it's starting to snow a little bit again. So, I mean, things might get a little bit more exciting. I might end up in a snowdrift having to eat my own leg. That is a possibility. And frankly, that would be a blessing because so far, it's just been trees and mud and staff-only signs. I mean, I haven't even had an asshole hiking through the forest talking about his mundane job and mentioning how his wife's mother's sister's cook owes money to the IRS or whatever the hell these people talk about out here. I haven't even had that. I've just had mud and staff-only signs. And I know people are going to say, well, all you ever do is complain about other people. And when you're alone in the woods, you complain about that too. Well, I mean, I complain about everything. That's a given. But I don't know. I mean, yes, being around other people is terrible and is just the worst possible thing in the world. But would you want to be alone with your own thoughts if your own thoughts were my thoughts? I mean, seriously, you've seen the crap that I talk about and the things that I create. Do you want to be alone inside this head? I didn't think so. So, yeah, that's why I celebrate things like the staff-only sign on the roads, because I got to do something to keep myself sane out here. I haven't seen a one-dimensional cougar in hours, and I got nothing else to talk about. Nothing else to do, just me and my thoughts. Oh boy, is that scary. So although it's getting later in the morning because time moves forward, it doesn't go backwards, it doesn't go sideways, it moves forward, and the day gets later and later and later, and theoretically, as the sun trucks and that giant ball of flame that we are no longer able to see here in the Pacific Northwest. As that gets higher in the sky, it's supposed to get warmer, but apparently Oregon didn't get the memo because it's actually getting colder. And last week was a week in which I went to snow and I made videos in the snow, and of course I had gloves on, I had a hat on, I was completely and fully prepared. Today I'm like, let's just drive out in the middle of nowhere and avoid all the snow and the ice and the freezing cold. And I didn't come prepared. I don't have a hat. I left my gloves in the car. And today is the day that Oregon chooses to try to kill me with ice. I mean, it's not bad yet. It hasn't started snowing again yet, but it's cold. It's really, really cold. It's cold and it's boring. I'm not sure which is worse. I mean, I could probably forgive cold, but I mean, it's beautiful. It's the forest. And I can see some stuff beyond the trees, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's finally something to make content about. And then when I actually look at the view beyond the trees, it's a bunch of fields. There's like a dilapidated, rusted out tractor in one of the fields. There were some plants that were covered with some sort of tarp in one of the other fields. It's not the most exciting. Let's just face it. I'm cold and I'm bored. And hence, this is what you get. You get 20 videos about how I'm bored and I'm cold. But yeah. I, as usual, I'm unprepared. I'm out meandering through the woods. And Oregon is being Oregon, trying to kill me in various creative Pacific Northwest ways. So yeah, it's a beautiful day. Well, apparently the forest decided to break up the monotony and the boredom by sending me a group of irritatingly loud hikers. And by the sounds of the accent, it sounded like they were British hikers. And I've been told by, I've never been to Europe in general, I've never been to Britain, but I've been told by my followers who are in Britain that usually hiking over there, you can walk around and nobody really says hi to you. There's not the ridiculous, ableistic trail etiquette that there is here in the States. And yet, I still got the British version of hello. Well, it was hi in the British accent, but to me, that's the British version of hello. And there's 4 of them. And I knew that they were British because I could literally hear them half a mile away. So maybe being rude and obnoxious in the forest is a universal trait. Maybe it's not just confined to the United States. Maybe it's just that humans in general, regardless of the area of the world they're from, or their ethnicity, or their gender, or whatever, maybe humans are just rude assholes who try to dominate the planet and don't think about anybody but themselves. I mean, given the results of the last election in the United States and some of the politics that are going on globally, I don't think that's an invalid hypothesis. But really, the bottom line for me is no matter where I go in the globe, they find me. So this is how loud the people who passed me a few minutes ago are being. They literally passed me. I let them go. I watched them disappear into the spooky woods. And then I made my ridiculous diatribe to the camera. And I piddled around a little bit more, did some extra filming. And now I'm way behind wherever they are. And I can still hear them. Literally, I'm not going to be able to pick it up on the GoPro because apparently I can barely pick up my own voice on this thing half the time, but yeah, I'm probably like half a mile away from them now, and I still hear so I'm no longer bored, but now I'm irritated. Because, yeah, my beautiful, peaceful, incredibly boring walk through the cougar-infested woods has now been pierced by the pain and suffering that is humanity. And apparently, I know they're going further away, but they're getting louder the further they go. I don't know if that's a deliberate choice on their part or it's some sort of phenomenon of physics that I'm not aware of. I mean, is there a rule in physics that the further away an annoying person gets, the louder they are and the more annoying they are? I seriously wouldn't put it past this universe, because that's the type of stuff it tries to pull on me every Sunday. Well, I had started to make a video bitching about the mud again, because I mean, look at this. I'm going down a slope and it's nothing but bleh. But something horrific happened as I was trying to make my second of today's diatribes about mud. And from up there, further up the trail from where I came, out of the woods came a trail runner. And so I'm sitting here bitching and moaning about mud, and this trail runner comes zooming through the woods, running down, completely ignoring the mud. Of course, this person was probably like 20 years old, and falling is not an issue when you're 20, but you double that age and it's death. So yeah, the person comes running down. Of course, being a trail runner, they're like, I'm running. You better get out of the way or I'm gonna kill you. And they come running around, and there's this dangerous, awful mud, which I think I've talked about in detail, but we might go into a couple more videos about mud, because let's face it, that's probably the biggest issue that I am facing today. Talk about first world problems. It's not famine or poverty, it's mud. But enough about the mud. So the person comes running around, they go through this dangerous mud and just keep going. And the thing that I noticed was this person had gear that had writing. It wasn't on the butt of the gear, it was above the butt area. It was like on the back, but it just said nerd. I'm sorry. I am probably the biggest nerd, geek, and freak that there is in this universe. If you're a trail runner and you're out here trying to push hikers off the trail into the mud and then drown them in that mud, like all trail runners want to do, you're not a nerd. Don't even sully the name of nerddom with that sort of despicable activity. No, what you should have on your jacket or the back of your pants or whatever it is predator. Because let's face it, that's what the trail runners are. That's what they're here to do. They're here to be the predator to the hiker prey. Now, the funny thing is that trail runner that I'm ranting about is probably half a mile away now and is about to turn around and come back in this direction, and I've been talking about mud and the trail runner this entire time. No wonder these hikes take me like 8 hours to do. I mean, yes, my diatribes are absolutely interesting, fascinating, and hilarious. But today, especially today, I just feel like an old man shaking his fist at the sky. I guess I'm just so bored that I've literally lapsed into mega complaining. But yeah, that's what's happening. There's awful, terrible mud and awful, terrible trail runners who are gliding through the mud like it doesn't even exist and making me feel even older than I usually feel. This is the official end of the All Trails map. And actually, the trail goes down that way and then loops over this way and then comes back here. So and All Trails didn't even bother to do that. It's like, I don't know, 100 feet of trail, and it's like, no, don't loop, just come here. And look at the gloriousness that the All Trails map leaves us with. We get logs. I mean, okay. It is lame, undoubtedly lame, because we hike, 4 miles, and all we get are sod logs. But I will say, in All Trails' defense, and trust me, it's hard for me to do that ever, but this is less lame than some of the other times it has just taken me out in the woods and left me. At least there's a closing loop here, and so the trail actually does end, and there's logs. It's not just the middle of an empty forest like it usually is, or the edge of a cliff, or over the edge of the cliff as All Trails wants to do. No, we get
logs.
I want to call it stumps, but no, these are cut logs. It didn't even bring me to a stump. At least a stump is a natural wonder. There's parasites, there's bugs, there's mushrooms and moss and all sorts of things growing on stumps. Stumps are visually interesting, and stumps are a talking conversation piece. I could be like, hey, look at that beautiful mushroom. Look at that thing. Look at that bug on that mushroom. That bug is really cool. But no, instead you get
logs. Lots and lots of logs.
Well, at least it's better than me talking about mud again. But yeah, this is an exciting conclusion that both all trails and actually this particular park,
because this literally is the end of the map. Again, it loops around and comes back, and this is the end of the trails.
So both the park that I am in and all trails as an app in general are boring as hell and just lead us
here to logs.
Well, this has been a banger of a hike. So far, I've talked about lame cougar signs. I've seen some snow, and then the rest of the hike has been me meandering through the trees, whining about mud and loud British people. Yeah, this is going to be a classic episode. I can feel it. This is going to be absolute classic. I mean, of all the things I've ranted about, I mean, of all the videos I made, it probably is more interesting than some of them, but yeah, I don't feel like I'm in my glory right now. I feel, you know what I feel like? I feel like I'm looking at
logs. 3 boring ass logs.
You know, one of the things Oregon does really, really well, and I definitely don't give it enough credit for this,
but it makes horrifying, terrifying, scary-ass forests.
I mean, look at this thing.
My imagination is just running off the charts right now. There's a chupacabra in there. There's a Bigfoot drooling and staring at me from behind a tree, just waiting for me to come close enough so it can grab me and eat me. There's probably a chainsaw carrying maniac over in that direction. And more than likely, there's a hippie in a tent somewhere back there.
Out of all those things that I just mentioned, that one is actually probably true. And that is truly horrifically terrifying. That I'll admit.
But yeah, Oregon does spooky, scary looking woods very, very well.
And I'm headed back through it because I'm done with the part of the hike that goes out of the forest.
And now I've got like 2 or 3 miles through the forest.
And 2 or 3 miles of my mind going, is there something stalking you? Is it staring at you through the leaves? What was that noise? Was that a snapping branch under a Bigfoot? A literal Bigfoot? Okay, I think the scariest thing about this segment of the video is the close-up of my giant face.
But to reiterate, the Oregon woods are absolutely terrifying. There's weird noises in them, there's weird crashes, there's weird bangs.
And then there's me ranting through the forest and making videos about mud and how old I feel. Well, speaking of horrific monsters that linger in the forest, I just got passed by a mountain biker. And yet I managed to survive. Of course, given my history, I don't really think there's much that can kill me. I mean, sure, I could fall off a cliff or a tree could fall on me, but I think I'm much too valuable to the universe. I kind of consider myself to be the universe's ability to bitch, moan, and complain. If I die, who's going to call out the scary-ass mountain bikers and the annoying trail runners? Who's going to talk about people that won't shut up in the woods while I'm not shutting up in the woods? It's true that the forest ahead of me and around me is terrifying and scary, but I feel like I'm on a mission from the universe itself. I will persevere through all of life's terrors to tell everybody how irritating and freaking annoying all of life's terrors really are. So yeah, I might encounter a mountain biker, but I am strong, I am brave, and I am the chosen introvert. Not really, but I'm getting bored again out here in the woods, so I'm just making up random crap. So let's go make up random crap in this direction. you gotta love Pacific Northwest weather. There was sunshine just a few minutes ago, and now
It's starting to snow again.
but as I talk, the snow's actually starting to thin out and it's starting to... I don't know what nature's doing. I don't think nature knows what nature's doing right now. I mean, it's the Pacific Northwest. It's a moody thing. But yeah, I'm getting
Some snowflakes. Oh, there you go. You see? I'm not insane. I'm not totally nuts. There's snow right there in front of me. Or
technically that was behind me, but yeah. So now I'm in the middle of a blizzard and I'm probably gonna die. But it would make for a really good ending to this video. But
yeah, the Pacific Northwest doesn't have any idea what the hell it wants today. It's just sending sun and snow and rain, and more sun and fog and...
I swear it's got more moods than I do. All right, so according to wonderful, beautiful, want to throw it off a cliff and stomp it into the ground, all trails, I am under a mile from the trailhead and thus under a mile from my car and under a mile from my ability to get into my car, put my foot on the gas of my car and get the hell out of whatever weather schizophrenia I've been experiencing all day. And I should tell you that I've been trying to make this segment of this video for like 20 minutes and I have done it like 5 or 6 times and I keep getting interrupted by trail runners. I swear, of all of Satan's minions that are roaming around here on the earth, why do I have to keep dealing with those idiots? I mean, they're not only wrong for their choice of athletic endeavor, but they're just wrong in general. Their entire nature, just everything about them is wrong. Oh. But whatever, it's time to do our trail rating. And because I've had to try this so many times, I'm gonna go as fast as I possibly can. We rate on a scale of 1 to 10. It's an introversion scale. 1 is introvert hell, the worst possible scenarios that an introvert could ever encounter. And in this particular case, that's Disneyland on the 4th of July. And that's a day in which Trump has sent in his Gestapo Nazi group of ICE agents. They have grabbed Minnie, Mickey, Donald, Pluto, and all the rest of the characters, and they are taking them back to Toontown. The entire park, much like the rest of America under Trump, is in disarray, it's in chaos, and it's on fire. The Matterhorn has literally collapsed. There's Matterhorn pieces and abominable snowman parts all over the place. The Big Thunder Railroad train is off its rails and upside down and on fire, and churros are still like $5,000 a piece. And really for Disneyland, it's really comparable to most of their prices, but I think it's still a little steep. So there's noise everywhere, there's people screaming, there's things exploding in the air, and it's introvert hell. Compare that to a 10 on the introversion scale, and that's you in a field in the middle of Antarctica, nothing around, no one there except for the genetically modified and trained sentient army of human-eating penguins. They don't see you as a human, they see you as a leader, but anybody else comes around and they be hungry. But that's the perfect scenario because you're there basically by yourself. I mean, there's some quacking and waddling, but you can tune that out. And there's solitude, there's happiness, there's joy, and there's no people. I mean, sure, you have a bloodthirsty army of government-created penguins, but it's still what I call introvert nirvana. So on that incredibly stupid scale of 1 to 10, I was going to give this trail an 8 because for a very long time I was by myself and there was solitude and happiness and it was great. And then they came. So unfortunately, that is going to knock the rating down to about a 4. It was going to be an 8, but now with the presence of other human beings, it's a 4. Now think about it. I'm on a day in which the weather is literally Armageddoning in all sorts of directions. There's really not that many people out here because the conditions are just so weird. imagine what it's like when it's nice or when it's summer. Oh. So yeah, unfortunately, the trail gets a 4, and that leads me to my misery index, which is on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being an absolute pipe dream, and that's no misery whatsoever, which I'm always miserable to one degree or another, so that I never achieve a 1, and a 5 being the worst amount of misery I can ever experience in all of the universe. And unfortunately, and it's snowing again. The weather is being weird, but unfortunately I break that scale all the time, and I go to like 5 quadrillion. Well, for a while I was about a 2.5, just cruising through the forest, and then Trail Runner Geddon happened, and I shot all the way up to 5 gazillion. I don't think that's an actual number, but I mean there's trail runners associated with it, so let's just go with it. So unfortunately, this trail is, for my tastes, way too busy, even on the weirdest weather day of the year. There's people all over the place, and although it is beautiful, I mean, as I said earlier in the video, it's also kind of boring. So I'll let you make up your mind of whether or not it would be worth coming here, as the snowflakes are falling around me. But that's where we are on the trail ratings today. That's where we are on the misery index.
This is where I am in the world. Apparently, we have embraced another white Christmas.
In 5 minutes, the sun's going to be back again, and then it's going to rain, and then it's going to snow again, and then it's going to hail, and then eventually I'm going to be in the eye of a hurricane. So before that happens, I'm going to conclude this segment, because thankfully I've actually been able to finish it. And I'm going to go back to my car, and I think it's time to go home. I'm getting grumpy. I mean, exposure to people will do that. All right, so I'm just about back to the trailhead, and thus just about back to my car, as
Well, I think the blizzard has now taken effect.
so maybe nature made up its mind. I'm not sure, but I know that given the elements and given the proximity of my vehicle, it is time for us to say our goodbyes. But before that, let's do a quick recap. Today, I was out hiking the Chehalem Ridge Park area here in Northern Oregon. And of course, along the way, we got to see some beautiful forests. We got to see some nice trees. We got to see some, well, I'd say weird weather, but really normal weather for the Pacific Northwest. And although it's scary as hell,
We did indeed get to see snow.
but alas, it is time for all of us to part ways yet again. So, you know what's coming. Stay introverted, everyone. And if I make it through this storm, I'll definitely see you on the next adventure.